Ladies and gentlemen, you're closer than you think. What if I told you that the success, the fulfillment, the goals you've been striving for are not as far off as they seem? That you're standing just inches away from your breakthrough, even if it feels miles away right now. There's a story of a man named Jerry. Jerry wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He wasn't handed connections, wealth, or instant recognition. Yet Jerry built one of the largest tech companies from the ground up. How? He didn't have some grand vision that appeared overnight. He had a simple belief: keep going. Jerry made progress one day at a time. He failed, he learned, and he continued. It wasn't one big leap, it was thousands of small steps. And each step brought him closer. He didn't wait for luck, he trusted the process. You see, life doesn't happen in one big moment. It's in the small, consistent actions we take. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out, as Robert Collier wisely put it. It's easy to look at someone who's made it and think they must have had it easy. The truth is, the people we admire didn't stumble into their success. They worked for it, bit by bit, showing up when no one was watching. Remember the story of Walt Disney? He faced rejection after rejection before he was given the chance to bring his dreams to life. He didn't quit. He kept showing up. And his persistence paid off in ways no one could have predicted. Now you may be thinking, but what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not cut out for it? Here's the thing, you're far more capable than you think. The only thing standing between you and your success is your ability to overcome your own doubts. Think about the great athletes who train endlessly every day. They push their limits. They're not born great. They make the decision to be great by showing up regardless of the obstacles. Let me ask you, what's the one small step you can take today that'll bring you closer to your dream? One phone call, one decision, one action. That's all it takes. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You just need to take the first step. Because sometimes that's all you need to unlock the door to your potential. You have the power to create the future you want. The distance between where you are now and where you want to be is not as wide as it feels. Start right now. Don't wait for perfect conditions or for some magic moment to strike. The moment is here. The time is now. There's a tendency we all share to believe that success is somehow always just out of reach. We look at people who have made it big, who seem to have it all figured out, and we convince ourselves that they must have had something we don't. Maybe they had a head start, or maybe they were lucky. We start to think that success is this elusive thing, always just beyond our grasp, requiring some sort of external event or miracle to bring it to us. But here's a truth that I want you to hold on to, one that might change how you approach everything from now on. Success and fulfillment are often much closer than we realize. They're not dependent on some grand event or stroke of luck. They're right here within us, within our reach. What separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't is often not talent or resources or even timing. It's the understanding of our own internal capabilities. It's the ability to believe that we have the power within us to create the success we desire. Think about someone like Steve Jobs. We often look at him and think, wow, he revolutionized the world. But let's take a closer look at his story. Jobs didn't have a huge budget to work with in the beginning. He didn't have an abundance of resources or an impressive network of people who could open doors for him. In fact, he was fired from the very company he started. Can you imagine? The founder of Apple dismissed from his own company. Many people would have folded under that pressure. But Jobs understood something critical. His potential wasn't bound by external circumstances. He knew that his vision, his creativity, and his ability to push through obstacles were far more powerful than any situation he faced. What did he do? He didn't sit around waiting for a miracle. He tapped into his inner strength and creativity. He started new ventures, created new products, and ultimately returned to Apple not as a failure, but as someone who had learned and grown. His comeback was nothing short of extraordinary. Jobs believed in his own potential, even when the world doubted him. His success wasn't handed to him. He unlocked it by believing in himself, by trusting in his capabilities, and by using every setback as a stepping stone forward. The same is true for countless people who have achieved incredible things. Oprah Winfrey, for example, grew up in poverty and faced significant challenges. She could have easily accepted a life of limitation. Instead, she tapped into something deeper within herself. She understood that success wasn't about waiting for the world to hand her opportunities. It was about creating those opportunities by believing in her own worth and abilities. Oprah's journey wasn't about the circumstances around her. It was about the strength she found within herself to overcome those circumstances. You see, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we need more money, more connections, more time. But the truth is that often what we truly need is to tap into the resources we already have. What if I told you that the skills, the creativity, and the determination you need to change your life are already within you? It's about recognizing the power that lies dormant inside of you and making the conscious decision to awaken it. There's a saying, the only limit to our realization of tomorrow is our doubts of today. Think about that for a second. How many times have you doubted your ability to achieve something? How many times have you held yourself back simply because you weren't sure if you could do it? Doubt is powerful. It can keep us stuck in a cycle of fear and inaction, preventing us from seeing just how close we are to our breakthrough. But here's the good news: doubt doesn't have to define you. Doubt doesn't control your future unless you allow it to. The key to success lies in your ability to trust your own potential, even when doubt tries to cloud your vision. I want you to think about the countless examples of people who have faced far greater challenges than we might imagine, yet still achieved incredible things. Take J.K. Rowling, for instance. Before the success of Harry Potter, she was a single mother living on welfare. She was rejected by multiple publishers, and many people thought her story was nothing more than a dream. But Rowling didn't listen to the doubters. She believed in her story, in her ability to write, and most importantly, in her potential to succeed. She kept going. And now her books have been translated into more than 80 languages, and her story is a testament to the power of perseverance, belief, and resilience. It's not just about what you have externally, it's about what you carry within. The real key to success is to recognize that you are already equipped with everything you need to move forward. The strength to overcome obstacles is inside of you. The creativity to find solutions is within you. The drive to push through setbacks is already in your heart. All that's left is to believe in it. Look around you. There are countless stories of people who achieved greatness without waiting for the perfect conditions. They tapped into their potential when they realized that success wasn't waiting on some magical moment, it was already within their reach. That's what I want you to remember. You're not waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for yourself to take action, to believe that you are capable of more than you've ever allowed yourself to believe. You're closer than you think. The only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be is the belief that you can get there. The power to unlock your potential is already within you. You don't need to wait for the stars to align. You just need to trust yourself, take action, and know that success is within your reach. The time to start is now, and everything you need is already inside of you. The idea of consistency is simple, yet incredibly powerful. It's easy to get caught up in the notion that success requires a one-time effort, a grand gesture, or a massive leap forward. We're conditioned to look for that overnight success story, the moment when everything falls into place. But the truth is, success doesn't happen all at once. It's built little by little, step by step, day after day. What often makes the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is the power of consistency. One of the most profound truths about success is that it's rarely about making huge dramatic changes. It's about doing the small, often unglamorous tasks consistently over time. Think of it like planting a seed. When you plant a seed, you don't see the results immediately. In fact, for days or even weeks, nothing seems to change. But the seed is growing beneath the surface. With the right care and attention, over time, that small seed will grow into something much bigger than you could have imagined. This idea of small, consistent actions yielding big results is something that can be seen in many areas of life. Take someone like Michael Jordan, who is widely considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But Michael Jordan wasn't born the best. He was cut from his high school basketball team. Can you imagine that? The future GOAT being told he wasn't good enough to even make the high school team. Most people would have given up at that point. But not Jordan. He didn't quit. Instead, he put in the work. He practiced every single day, improving his skills, his endurance, and his mental toughness. Every day he took small steps that, over time, turned him into the player we now remember as one of the greatest athletes to ever live. He didn't wake up one day and suddenly become Michael Jordan. He became Michael Jordan by showing up every day, putting in the work, and believing that each small improvement was worth it. Consistency isn't glamorous. It doesn't come with applause or recognition in the moment. But it's precisely in that quiet, behind-the-scenes effort where the magic happens. Think about the process of learning to play a musical instrument. At first, every note sounds off, every chord is a struggle, and progress feels incredibly slow. But if you practice every day, those tiny improvements begin to add up. Over time, you're playing pieces that seemed impossible when you first started. The same is true for anything in life, whether it's fitness, learning a new skill, building a business, or improving relationships. It's not about making huge, dramatic changes in one moment. It's about doing the small things consistently that eventually lead to big results. This principle applies to personal growth too. Take the example of Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time. What makes his success so remarkable isn't just his ability to pick winning stocks, it's his ability to stay consistent in his approach to investing. He started with very modest beginnings, but by consistently making smart, disciplined decisions over decades, he built an empire. Buffett didn't rely on one big win. He knew that real wealth and success come from making small, smart choices consistently over time. But why is consistency so powerful? It's because the effects of consistent effort compound over time. Just like money in a savings account, the interest on your efforts grows. If you consistently put in the work, those small actions start to add up and create results that are far greater than the sum of their parts. Success is not about the amount of effort you put in at once, it's about the cumulative effect of effort over time. Think about compound interest. If you put $100 in an account that earns 5% interest, at the end of the first year, you'll have earned $5. That doesn't seem like much, but after several years, the interest starts to compound. The growth isn't linear anymore. It accelerates. The same is true for our personal and professional growth. In the beginning, it may feel like you're not getting anywhere. You may not see immediate progress. But the effort you put in today is building a foundation for bigger things in the future. It's like the difference between planting a tree and cutting down a tree. When you plant a tree, you don't see the results right away. But with consistent watering and care, that tree grows over time until it becomes strong, tall, and fruitful. This isn't just theory. We can see it in the real world. Look at people like Serena Williams, one of the most dominant figures in tennis. Her success wasn't built on one incredible match. It was built on years and years of practice, of showing up day after day to put in the work. Every time she stepped onto the court, it wasn't about performing at the highest level. Once it was about doing the right things over and over again until she became a champion. The key is this: it's not about waiting for some magical moment to arrive. It's about making the decision to show up and give your best, no matter how small the task might seem in the moment. The results don't always show up right away. But with time, consistency will transform what seems like small efforts into something truly remarkable. Remember, it's the small, consistent actions that, over time, lead to extraordinary results. Every step you take today, no matter how small, is a step towards something bigger. Success doesn't require huge efforts all at once. It's the consistent effort that builds success, one step at a time. We've all faced it at some point in our lives, that nagging feeling of self-doubt. It can creep in at the worst times, just when we're about to step up and take action towards something important. That voice inside your head that says you're not good enough, or what if you fail? It can be paralyzing. It can hold you back from taking the very steps that could lead to your growth and success. But here's the thing: self-doubt isn't the enemy. It's not something we need to fear or avoid. It's a signal, a reminder that we're pushing ourselves outside our comfort zone, and that's exactly where growth happens. The most successful people in the world didn't arrive at their achievements by never feeling insecure or uncertain. In fact, many of them had to confront and push through self-doubt time and time again. Take someone like Elon Musk. When he first started with SpaceX, he was told by many that he was wasting his time, that the idea was impossible, and that he would never succeed. Musk has spoken openly about his insecurities and fears throughout his career. But instead of letting self-doubt paralyze him, he trusted the process and continued moving forward. He believed in his vision in the work, and in his ability to learn and adapt. Today, SpaceX is a leader in space technology, and Musk is regarded as one of the most innovative entrepreneurs of our time. Overcoming self-doubt isn't about never feeling insecure. It's about learning how to deal with those feelings and still move forward. It's about trusting the process, trusting that every step you take, even if it's a small one, brings you closer to your goal. Self-doubt often comes from the fear of failure, from wondering whether our efforts will be enough, or whether we're capable of achieving something big. But what many don't realize is that failure is part of the process. It's not something to fear or avoid. It's a stepping stone to success. Think of it like a child learning to walk. They fall over and over again, but each time they get a little closer to standing on their own. They don't give up after the first fall. They trust that they'll eventually figure it out if they keep trying. In fact, some of the most successful people have failed multiple times before finally finding success. Take the example of Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC. He was rejected over 1,000 times before his fried chicken recipe was accepted by a restaurant. If he had given up after the first few rejections, we wouldn't know his name today. But he didn't let self-doubt take over. He trusted in his idea even when everyone else said no. He kept going, and eventually his persistence paid off. There's a quote by the great motivational speaker Les Brown that goes, "Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars." This idea encapsulates the power of overcoming self-doubt and trusting the process. It's not about getting everything right the first time or having everything fall perfectly into place. It's about taking action even when you don't have all the answers. It's about pushing through the fear, trusting that the effort will pay off in ways you can't yet see. Self-doubt often stems from comparing ourselves to others. We look at someone else's success and think, they've got it all figured out. Why can't I do that? But the truth is, everyone has their own journey. Everyone faces challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. The key is not to compare yourself to others, but to focus on your own path and trust that the work you're doing today will lead to progress. Take Serena Williams as another example. She didn't become a champion overnight. She faced injuries, setbacks, and doubts along the way. But instead of letting those challenges define her, she used them as fuel to keep going. Williams often talks about the importance of mental strength and trusting the process, even when things aren't going the way you want them to. Her success didn't come from never doubting herself. It came from acknowledging her doubts and fears, then pushing forward anyway. The secret to overcoming self-doubt is in how you respond to it. It's normal to feel uncertain. It's natural to wonder if you're good enough or capable enough. But instead of letting that uncertainty control you, use it as motivation. Recognize that self-doubt is often a sign that you're doing something important, that you're stepping into new territory and challenging yourself. That's exactly where growth happens. It's in those moments of discomfort, when you're unsure of yourself, that you have the chance to unlock hidden potential. Remember, no one has all the answers at the start. Everyone starts somewhere and everyone feels unsure at times, but the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is in their ability to trust the process and keep moving forward. You may not have everything figured out right now, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep taking steps, even if they're small. As you move forward, you'll learn, adapt, and grow. You'll begin to trust yourself more. And eventually the self-doubt will become quieter because you'll know that you have the ability to handle whatever comes your way. When we think about people who have achieved extraordinary things, it's easy to assume they were simply lucky, that they stumbled upon success by chance. But the truth is, most of the time, it's not luck at all. What separates those who achieve greatness from those who don't is not some magical stroke of fortune, but steady determination, focused effort, and a relentless drive to keep going, even when the path isn't easy. Take the story of Jeff Bezos, for example. Today we know him as the founder of Amazon, one of the largest and most influential companies in the world. But Amazon didn't start as the giant it is today. In fact, when Bezos started Amazon in 1994, it was nothing more than an online bookstore operating out of his garage. The idea wasn't new or revolutionary at the time. There were already bookstores around the world. But Bezos saw a gap in the market and relentlessly worked to build something bigger. He didn't give up when things were difficult, when people doubted him, or when the business wasn't turning a profit. He didn't rely on luck to make his vision a reality. Instead, he put in the work day in and day out, constantly improving his business model, expanding his offerings, and adapting to the needs of the market. Over time, Amazon grew into a global powerhouse, not because of luck, but because of Bezos' commitment to making his vision a reality. Another great example is Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Jobs is often seen as a visionary who changed the world with his innovative products, but his journey wasn't without its struggles. He was actually fired from Apple, the company he had started, after a series of internal conflicts. Many people would have given up after such a setback, but Jobs didn't. Instead, he founded another company next and later acquired Pixar, which went on to produce blockbusters like Toy Story. Years later, Apple brought him back, and under his leadership, the company revolutionized the tech industry with products like the iPod, iPhone, and iPad. Jobs didn't rely on any external factors or stroke of luck. He relied on his unwavering determination to succeed, learn from his failures, and push forward despite the challenges. Look at the life of Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC. Sanders didn't start his famous fried chicken business until he was in his 60s. In fact, he was rejected over 1,000 times before he found a partner willing to invest in his recipe. At a time when most people were thinking about retirement, Colonel Sanders was tirelessly knocking on doors, refusing to give up on his dream. Today, KFC is a household name around the world, all thanks to his steady determination and his belief in his product. His story proves that age or setbacks are not barriers to success. What matters is your commitment and willingness to keep going. Let's also talk about someone like Oprah Winfrey, who grew up in poverty and faced significant challenges throughout her early life. She was told time and again that she wasn't fit for television, that she was too ugly or unattractive to succeed. Yet she didn't let those negative opinions define her. She kept working, learning, and improving her skills. Over the years, Oprah became one of the most influential figures in media, and her talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, became a global phenomenon. She didn't get there by luck. She got there because she believed in her own potential and worked relentlessly to make her dreams a reality. These stories all have one thing in common: success didn't come from a single lucky break or magical moment. It came from people who showed up every day, put in the effort, learned from their mistakes, and kept going when others would have quit. They understood that success is a long-term game. They didn't wait for the stars to align or for luck to fall into their lap. They focused on the work and kept pushing forward, knowing that with enough effort, they could create something extraordinary. There's a powerful lesson in all of this. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. This quote by Robert Collier perfectly captures the essence of what these individuals did. They didn't rely on luck. They relied on their commitment to their vision, the small steps they took every day, and their ability to persist despite setbacks. It's not about waiting for that one big moment of luck. It's about making your own luck through hard work, dedication, and a refusal to give up. The reality is, the key to your success is in your hands right now. It's not in someone else's hands, not in some distant future or far-off opportunity. It's in the action you take today and the decisions you make right now. The success you've been waiting for, the goals you've been dreaming about, are just one step away. And that step starts with you. The power to change your life, to move closer to your dreams, is within your control. And the best part is, you don't have to wait for the perfect moment. Think about it. We all know that success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of consistent effort, yes, but it all begins with that first action. Whether you're trying to start a new business, improve your health, or pursue a new passion, the key is taking that first step. Action doesn't require perfection. In fact, waiting for the perfect time to act can often be the very thing that keeps us stuck. We wait for the right conditions, the right feeling, the right circumstances. But the truth is, those conditions rarely come. Don't wait. The time will never be just right, said Napoleon Hill. What's more important than waiting for everything to align is to simply start. Start now with what you have, where you are. Take someone like Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group. Branson didn't wait for everything to be perfect before launching his first business. He started at a young age with limited resources and encountered plenty of obstacles along the way. But he didn't let that stop him. Branson knew that the key to success was in taking that first step, no matter how uncertain or unprepared he might have felt. He didn't wait for a time when he had all the answers or when everything was guaranteed to work out. He took risks, learned from his mistakes, and grew along the way. Each action, no matter how small, brought him closer to his goals. Look at someone like J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Before she became one of the world's best-selling authors, Rowling was struggling. She was living on welfare, dealing with personal challenges, and facing rejection after rejection. But she didn't give up. She took action. She sat down and wrote, despite the doubt, despite the hardships, despite the lack of resources. She kept moving forward, one word at a time. When she finally got her first book deal, she had no idea it would become a global phenomenon. But none of that would have happened if she had waited for the perfect moment. It started with the courage to take action. The key is to break it down into the simplest form. Just take one step. Don't overthink it. Don't get caught up in the fear of what might go wrong. Instead, Focus on what could go right if you move forward. Each step you take is progress, and the momentum you build from that action will propel you toward your goals. It's easy to get overwhelmed thinking about everything that needs to be done, but success is built one action at a time. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, says the ancient philosopher Lao Tzu. And that's the truth. You may not know exactly how things will unfold, but you'll never know unless you take that first step. Waiting only keeps you in the same place, stuck in the cycle of wishing for change but never making it happen. You have the power to change that right now. No matter how big your dream or how daunting your goal may seem, the action you take today is what makes the difference. Don't wait for someone to give you permission. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't wait for the fear to go away. The truth is, the fear will always be there. It's how you respond to it that counts. Action is the antidote to fear. Every step you take moves you closer to the life you want to create. Remember, success isn't a matter of waiting for the right opportunity. It's about creating opportunities by taking action. You have the ability to change the direction of your life today. Just one step can create momentum, and that momentum can take you places you never thought possible. Don't wait for the stars to align. Take action now and make the stars align as you go. You see, the truth is, success doesn't belong to a lucky few. It's not reserved for those who have some kind of secret advantage or some cosmic gift. It belongs to anyone who's willing to put in the work, take action, and keep going even when the road gets tough. If there's one thing you can take away from everything we've talked about today, it's this: you have everything you need to succeed already within you. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's not about finding the right conditions. It's about taking that first step, then another, then another. Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out, Robert Collier said, and those small efforts add up over time. You've seen it in the lives of people like Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, and countless others who didn't wait for luck to strike. They took action, and because they kept showing up day after day, they built something extraordinary. They didn't let failure stop them. They didn't let fear control them. They trusted the process, they trusted themselves, and they kept moving forward, one step at a time. You might be thinking, but where do I even start? The answer is simple: you start now. You don't need all the answers, and you don't need to have everything figured out. Just take that first step, no matter how small it might seem. Trust that each step will bring you closer to where you want to be. As Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. That first step, no matter how insignificant it might seem, has the power to create momentum that moves you forward in ways you can't even imagine yet. Remember, success isn't some far-off dream that's only available to a select few. It's within your reach right now. The power to create the life you want is in your hands. You are just one step away from transforming your future, and that step begins with the decision to take action today. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals, said Zig Ziglar. And it's true. It's the person you become along the way, the resilience, the determination, the growth that makes the journey worthwhile. So go ahead, take that first step. You've got what it takes. And trust me, once you start, you'll be amazed at what you're capable of accomplishing. Keep going, because success is much closer than you think.